Assalamu alaikum students and friends. In this episode, we analyze a two-block system. One block with a given mass, initially at rest on an inclined, rough surface, is attached to a light string that passes through a frictionless pulley and supports a second block with an unknown mass. How do we compute the mass of the hanging block? To find out, just get indulged. Watch and learn. The problem is a block with mass m1 equal to 1.0 kilogram is placed on an inclined plane with slope angle theta equal to 37 degrees and is connected to a hanging block with mass m2 by a cord passing over a small frictionless pulley. The coefficient of static friction is 0.60 and the coefficient of kinetic friction is 0.20. Find letter A, the value of mass m2 for which the block of mass m1 moves up the plane at constant speed once it is set in motion. Question letter B, find the value of mass m2 for which the block of mass m1 moves down the plane at constant speed once it is set in motion. And question letter C, for what range of values of mass m2 will the blocks remain at rest if they are released from rest? Let acceleration due to gravity g be equal to 9.8 meters per second squared. As shown in figure 1, the weight W1 of uh, block 1 is equal to 9.8 newtons. The surface is inclined at an angle 37 degrees. And the coefficient of static friction between the surface of the inclined and the mass m1 is 0.60, while the coefficient of kinetic friction is 0.20. So we identify and label the forces acting on each block in this vector free body diagram. For clarity, we tilt the x and the y axis such that the x-axis is parallel, okay, parallel to the surface of the incline, right? And the y-axis is exactly perpendicular to the surface of the incline, right? The x and the y components of weight number 1 are already specified here and labeled. So the arrow directed into the negative y-axis represents the what we call component of the weight, all right? W sub 1y, while the arrow directed down the incline labeled here as W1X. So these are the two components of W1. Also, we have the force exerted by the incline or the surface of the incline on block M1. We label this as the normal force, F sub n, and it's directed into the positive y-axis, exactly opposite to the y component of W1. All right? And in fact, these two forces have equal magnitudes. And the force exerted by the cord or the string on the mass M1 is labeled here as capital T, as in the tension force, and it is directed up the incline. Now, for the hanging block with mass M2, there's the weight of M2 labeled here as W sub 2. And of course, since this is the force of gravity on block 2, it is directed vertically downwards. And it is being supported by the cord, okay, with a force tension T. And it's also directed vertically upward. The two tensions exerted on the mass M1 and on mass M2 are actually equal in magnitude but opposite in directions. In fact, they are action-reaction pair of forces. All right. So, in case A, okay, when the system, all right, or the mass M1 is moving up the incline, there is a force of kinetic friction. All right. So, friction, by definition, always opposes the motion. That's why this kinetic friction on M1 is directed also down the incline. We label it here as F sub k, as in the force of the kinetic friction exerted on mass M1. And our target variables for the two cases, all right, case A and case B, is to determine the mass M2. All right. In case 1, we are going to find the value of the mass M2 if the two blocks or the system is set into motion such that M1 or the system will be moving with constant speed with M1 directed up the incline. And in case 2, we will also determine the value of M2 such that the motion of M1 is down the incline. Right? So we start by expressing the x and the y components of the weight W1. All right? So for the x component, which we label here as weight 1 or W1x, right? W1x is the x component because it is directed down the incline, right? The coordinate that is parallel to the surface of the incline is the x-axis. That's why we label this uh, component of weight W1 directed down the incline as W sub 1 x. And it is expressed here, all right, as the product of the mass m1 and acceleration due to gravity, and then multiplied by sine of the angle theta. All right, we choose sine because W1x happens to be the opposite side of the angle theta. You can imagine here a right triangle, right? A right triangle with W sub 1 being the hypotenuse of the imaginary right triangle, and the opposite side represented by W sub 1x happens to be the opposite side, right? And based on SOHCAHTOA, okay, the opposite side is in fact the ratio of the opposite side over the hypotenuse. That's why W sub 1x here is expressed in terms of sine of the angle theta. And of course, the y component, W sub 1y, it is the component of W1 whose direction is in the negative y-axis, right? And again, using SOHCAHTOA, W sub 1y happens to be the adjacent side of the imaginary right triangle. Hence, the use of the cosine of the angle theta. And W sub 1y happens to be equal in magnitude to the normal force Fn. Moving on now to our computations, starting with finding the y component of the weight W sub 1, right? So using the formula W sub 1y equal to the product of the mass m1 and acceleration due to gravity times the cosine of the angle theta. So we get W sub 1y equal to 1.0 kilogram times 9.8 meter per second squared, and then multiplied by cosine of 37 degrees. So when you do our math, we find the y component of the weight W sub 1 equal to 7.8 newtons. We also emphasize that this is also the amount of the normal force exerted on M1. And similarly, we do the same for the x component of the weight W sub 1. That is, W1x equals the product of M1 and acceleration due to gravity, and then multiplied by sine of the angle theta. That is, W1x equals 1.0 kilogram times 9.8 meter per second squared, and then multiplied by sine of the angle 37 degrees. So with the help of your calculator, we get the value of the x component of the weight W1, or W1x, equal to 5.9 newtons. Likewise, we can now compute for the magnitude of the kinetic friction, Fk, using the formula Fk equals the coefficient of kinetic friction times the normal force. That is, Uk equals 0.60 times 7.8 newtons, which is the normal force. So we get the kinetic friction with a magnitude of 4.7 newtons. We also include computation for the maximum static friction, okay, labeled as F sub S max, okay, and that is just equal to the product of the coefficient of static friction, mu s, times the normal force Fn. That is, Fs max is equal to 0.20 times 7.8 newtons, and that gives us 1.6 newtons. And moving on now to our main question, question letter A, where we are asked to determine the mass of block number 2, or M2, such that the system, or specifically mass M1, will be moving up the incline. All right? So we treat the two blocks, M1 and M2, as a two-block system. All right? So for block M1 to be able to move up the incline, okay, that would mean that the mass of M2, okay, must be greater, right? Must be greater than the mass of block number 1. And the motion will be up the incline for block number 1 and vertically downward for block number 2, right? But since they are in dynamic equilibrium, there will be no net force acting on the two blocks or on the system. So F net equals 0, right? So our equation becomes weight number 2, or expressed in terms of its mass, is M2 times G, right? That will be equal to the sum of the two opposing forces acting on the system, or specifically, the two forces acting on block number 1, or M1, which are the x component of the weight W1, all right? We label that here as W sub 1x, whose direction is down the incline, plus the force of kinetic friction Fk, whose direction is also down the incline, always opposing the direction of the motion, right? That is, when we substitute, M2G, or the weight W2, is equal to 5.9 newtons. This is the x component of W1, plus the force of kinetic friction, earlier computed, 4.7 newtons, for a total of 10.6 newtons. All right, so 10.6 newtons is the weight of block number 2. All right, and since it's the mass that we are after, so we just divide 10.6 newtons by acceleration due to gravity, 9.8 meters per second squared. Hence, we get the value of the mass M2 equal to 4.7 kilogram. So this is the mass for the hanging block, okay. 4.7 kilograms is just the appropriate value for M2, so that M1 will be moving up the incline at constant speed, and at the same time, the hanging block will be moving vertically downward with the same speed as block number 1, all right? With constant speed, that is, no acceleration, all right? That's why we call this as dynamic equilibrium. In part B of our question, we also determine the mass of block number 2, or M2, so that the block M1 will be moving down the incline. Okay, this is now the opposite of the case in part A. So just the same, we also consider the system to be moving, all right, in dynamic equilibrium, all right, with constant speed, no net force, no acceleration. So our equation would be the sum of the weight W2, or that is M2 times G, plus the kinetic friction. Because this time, since the motion of block M1 is down the incline, the direction of the kinetic friction on it will be opposite, or that is up the incline, which happens to be, all right, in the same direction, okay, positive x direction, just like the case of weight number 2, all right? So that is the reason why they are added here on the same side of this equation, m2g plus fk. And their sum, vector sum that is equated to the x component of the weight w1, or that is w1x, all right? Which when transposed, okay, so that we isolate m2g, m2g still becomes w1x minus fk, all right? Substituting, m2g equals 5.9 newtons. That's the computed value of the w1x. And then minus fk, which is 4.7 newtons, also computed earlier. And their sum equals 1.2 newtons. So when we divide 1.2 newtons by 9.8 meter per second squared, okay, which is, of course, the value for the mass m2, which is equal to 0.12 kilogram, right? So in other words, when the mass of the hanging block is equal to 0.12 kilograms, then we can imagine that the system, or specifically block number 1, or M1, will be moving down the incline at constant speed, while at the same time, the hanging block, or M2, will be moving vertically upward with the same constant speed. That's why we say that they are in dynamic equilibrium as well. Finally, we now come to our solution for the question in part C, right? So there are two scenarios in part C. The first one is we're looking for the mass of block number 2, right? That's M2. So that block number 1 will just be about to move up the incline, right? Or mass M1 will just be on the verge of starting to move up the incline when they are starting from rest, that is, right? And that would mean also that block number 2, or M2, is also just about to start to move vertically down, all right? And that means that the situation is still uh, covered by the law of static equilibrium. In other words, right, the weight of block number 2, or that is M2G, okay, will just be equal to the sum of W1X, that's the component of the weight 1, okay, along the incline, and the maximum static friction. We are using uh, the maximum static friction here, all right, because we are talking about the situation when both mass M1 and mass M2 are just about to start to move, okay, from rest. Remember, the static friction, okay, can range from a value greater than 0 up to what we call the maximum value, right? And the fact that the two bodies, block 1 and block 2, remain at rest. Okay, that's why we are able to apply the law of static equilibrium in this scenario, right? So, when we substitute the given quantities, we get the weight W2 or M2G is just equal to the sum of 5.9 Newton and 1.6 Newtons, right? Which is 7.5 Newtons. So this is the weight of the hanging block, or its corresponding mass M2, of course, is 7.5 Newtons divided by 9.8 meter per second squared. That is, M2 will be equal to 0.77 kilogram. So this is the mass M2 we are looking for, right? This is the mass of the hanging block, so that the system, okay, is just on the verge of starting to move. And in the next scenario, right, C-2, this is the case when the mass M1 is also about to move, but this time down the incline, right? Or that mass M1 is on the verge of moving down the incline from rest. And that would mean that M2 is also on the verge of moving from rest, moving upward, vertically upward, right? So instead of adding the maximum static friction, we deduct it from W sub 1x. That is, M2G equals 5.9 Newton minus 1.6 Newtons, which is 4.3 Newtons, with the corresponding mass, M2, equal to 0.44 kilogram. Right? So, for our final answer, okay, what range of values of M2, okay, are required so that the system will remain at rest? So our answer is the mass M2, okay, should be from 0.44 kilogram up to 0.77 kilogram. Beyond these values, or if the mass of block number 2 is not within this range, then the system starts to accelerate. In the first scenario, block number 1 will be able to move or start to move from rest up the incline, all right, with mass M2 starting to move from rest vertically downward. And in the second scenario, right, if mass M2 is less than 0.44 kilogram, then the system will also start to accelerate from rest, with M1 being able to move or to start to move from rest down the incline, while the mass M2, okay, will be able to move vertically upward from rest. So on this note, may I say mabuhay till the next episode. MashaAllah. Thank you very much for your indulgence. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Alhamdulillah.